Hawaii, and there's a new report out of the Associated Press today that is so absolutely horrific that I'm just going to read it. I'm just going to read excerpts from it to you. In deadly Maui fires, many had no warning and no way out. Only those who dodged barricades survived. What do you mean dodge barricades? What does that mean? As flames tore through a West Maui neighborhood, car after car of fleeing residents headed for the only paved road out of town in a desperate race for safety. And car after car was turned back toward the rapidly spreading wildfire by a barricade blocking access to Highway 30, the only road out of Lahaina. One family swerved around the barricade and was safe in a nearby town 48 minutes later. Another drove their four-wheel drive car down a dirt road to escape. One man took a dirt road uphill, climbing above the fire and watching as Lahaina burned. He later picked his way through the flames, smoke, and rubble to pull survivors to safety. One neighborhood near Lahaina Luna Road was filled with kids who were home alone with flames hit, one survivor said. We needed 10 more minutes, and we could have saved a lot of kids, he said, choking back tears, if we had just had a 10 or 15-minute warning. Remember, the sirens were never turned on. The family ventured out to a Kahuli Mall recently, looking for a moment of normalcy in the aftermath of the tragedy. They ran into a playmate of their son. And he said, the kids just don't have a filter. So the son ran up and he was just telling our son, you know, this kid is dead. This kid is dead. And it's like all my son's friends that they come to our house every day and their parents were at work and they were sent home alone and nobody had a warning. Nobody knew. It's from the Associated Press today, August 23rd, 2023, Anno Domini, reported from Lahaina, Hawaii, and Maui. I want to bring on now Ashley St. Clair from the Babylon Bee. She's also a great writer, a children's book author in her own right. And Ashley, you were in Hawaii, though not on Maui, right around the time of this. Walk me through what you were hearing on the ground and some of the other reporting that you've been putting through since this horrific tragedy began.
Jack, first, I just want to say listening to that report is very difficult. It's heartbreaking to hear what's actually happening and to hear just how deadly this incompetence from the leadership was. And that really is the feeling of many people in Hawaii. Many people online are saying that, you know, there should have been these warnings. They're not telling us the full truth. You had reports saying, hey, we're seeing way more dead bodies out here than is being reported. We had these reports on TikTok. The people of Hawaii were obviously, they have so many questions still about what's going on. And even as you read this report, right, I have questions about these barricades. Were these barricades put up because of the fire? How were they putting up barricades and not sending out sirens, not sending out warnings, not maybe getting water to the people quickly enough? It's terribly heartbreaking how deadly this incompetence has been in Hawaii and in Maui.
You know, Ashley, and talk about a little bit about where you were, because, you know, I've never been to Maui. I have been to Oahu, and I was stationed on Guam a couple of times when I was in the Navy. These volcanic islands, when you're on certain areas of them, when you're going through from town to town in some of these spots that are out of the big cities, there's literally only one road, because they just don't have roads that go up the mountains. They don't have roads that cut into the jungles. So there's only one road in and out of so many of these towns. And so for the government to blockade the road in the middle of a fire, because, and look, I understand they were trying to deal with the power lines, but the stories that we're getting, they blockaded the road, and that means those images that I think we've all seen at this point, the cars that were burnt out, dogs that were flash carbonized from the high heat of this fire, extremely high heat, that means that the people were stuck on the road like that. That's why the cars were all lined up. And we're hearing stories now of entire families that were caught in these cars and essentially forced to be there by their own government. Some people, of course, jumped into the water. We're now only going back, and it's amazing because, as you say, TikTok, other social media platforms, we've seen some of the videos. Now we're piecing together the story of what actually happened.
That's absolutely right, Jack. And the infrastructure in Hawaii, it's not built like these other places where there's so many people coming from different states and driving in. It's very much, many of these places just have 1-lane roads or only 2-lane roads. So I can imagine how difficult and how terrifying it was for some of these people trying to get out of Maui, trying to get away from the fires during this time.